So I'm gonna be doing some more quality testing. I'm getting the hang of this technology shit. I'm pretty technology stupid, to be honest. When my thing of quality testing is literally just turning up settings, and like if it looks good, then obviously we'll keep it like that. So we're doing some Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel commentary on high-rated DN matches. This is like the easiest way for me to do to quality test. I'm gonna start doing a lot more Magic videos. Really, just so I can get better at the game. So when I play my matches, I can go back and look at them, and obviously I'll do perspective of the decisions I was making in the Magic match. Pretty much after Air G forward, probably not gonna be playing Yu-Gi-Oh at all, or making any videos for that, or recording any war duels anymore, or recording any of my friends playing like fun decks and shit like that. Just because, like, I don't know, man. I just really dislike Yu right now. There's really not much to commentate right now. I'm sorry for not commentating. I'm trying to, like, filler in when there's not anything occur for me to, like, say what's possibly going on. So this is, in fact, a Monarch. Or actually, okay, it is Monarch Mirror. This dude's playing an extra deck. So it'll be interesting to see how his Monarchs play, like, which variations he seems to be better. I would honestly think that since he has access to an extra deck, his might be have a higher ceiling than the one that doesn't have an extra deck. Obviously, this Monarch player, the other Monarch player that doesn't have an extra deck, his field spell actually becomes useful outside of making a level 1 tribute. But that really won't be a problem if they're having like this Stormforth battle and he doesn't have a tribute summon monster. Monster no more on his side of the field, to where field spell's kind of dead, and where that's kind of just a win, like a win more situation when you get access to your extra deck, because you storm forth the other Monarch player. Also this dude used Rhoda to do, or this dude just set an idea. It could be the black one. I forgot what the black one's called. I'm racist. I'm just gonna call it the black one. Not gonna call it African American. So there's really not much occurring going on right now. I guess talk about more about yeah, pretty much. I just don't why I'm gonna be playing more Magic. I just don't think there's any much growth in Yu-Gi anymore for me to play anymore, especially financially. Since Pepe got hit, whatever, me and my friends lost a lot of money from that. Pretty jaded, to be honest. Like, I could give a fuck what deck Konami releases. Like, whatever decks are like the best and viable at the time, like competitive players gonna get them. So like, I didn't really care about Pendulums getting hit. I just care about like, how fast they got hit. Like, I never in my world would I ever wanted to play the Pendulum meta. I already knew how like that meta is like very going first oriented base, at least in the mirror. And I just didn't want to play them at the beginning with, so just kind of shit how they try to fix the problem like so fast, but they'll still take advantage of their player base by making money. Like, they should just not make your game bad instead of like making us pay so much money and then do that. But that's a little bit too much to ask for from Konami to make their game actually good. But back to this game. So this Mario player doesn't get very far ahead compared to this guy, because like he has so much raw card advantage. There's really not much he can be able to do, especially seeing how the Monarch mirror is very Stormforth reliant. So and obviously the more cards he has, the more likely he is to have Stormforth. And also one of the main reasons why the Stormforth is a major key against the Monarch mirrors, because like it takes away the card advantage. It takes away, like, it makes them stop generating card advantage on the spot. Like 8th year looping is not as good like on your opponent's turn. So it stops a lot of that. That's pretty weird. He's also just giving him draws from Max E, which is kind of okay, because like in terms of card advantage, it's still the same, to be honest with you. Not even still the same. Like this, like the other Monarch player just has way more fucking cards. Like, it's insane how much more cards he has. That kind of sucks. The Stormforth is gone. It could be fine because he has so much cards in his hand. It's kind of just likely that he has another Stoneforth. But it's also just weird that he didn't have a tribute summon of a monster. It could be for multiple reasons, like he doesn't want the monster to. He doesn't have effective way to play around Stoneforth, or at least to come out on top on the Stoneforth battles. Like they can start having Stoneforth battles, but usually what ends up happening in Stoneforth battles is like the person who Stoneforth first deals their damage and chips in, and the second person who Stoneforth usually gets the Stoneforth for free, because unless they draw into another Stoneforth or have a way to get the Stoneforth back from the banish zone with idea, usually that other person will end up winning the Stoneforth battle because he just has more Stoneforths. But this seems like this dude's breaking really hard. It's actually kind of shocking, to be honest. I don't think we're gonna see many Stoneforth battles. There's a lot more. Stoneforth battles is a lot more complex than what I'm stating. Like, that's like the only way I see him, winning this game is Stoneforth battling, and like coming out on top of it. But that's just probably just unlikely. Like, this dude has so much card advantage. Do you have the target 2 with this card? Yeah, you have the target 2. Okay, yeah, he did. He just typed it out. So this is actually just not fine, to be honest. He's actually likely probably dead, to be quite frank, because like he literally just needs to summon Aether. No, he's probably not actually dead because the Prime Monarch. It depends how much damage, or it depends like if he can tribute summon twice, which he's probably not gonna be able to be honest, because is he playing the Quantum build? The only way that you can logically be able to feasibly be able to tribute summon twice during your turn is usually 1-for-1, or already have an idea in your graveyard and use the black one to banish, and then you bring out that one, right, to retain your normal summon. That's usually the only way, and he doesn't have that. The only other way is literally just 1-for-1. So he's probably not gonna OTK him. But it's still gonna be a ton of damage right here. Like if he just tribute summons, it doesn't hurt to summon Edios, the black one or whatever. That's also like alright, I guess. Not sure why he tackled that one first, because you just definitely just what? Oh yeah, so the reason why I think that was just you can also just do that. So I guess we can go in depth about that attack. So I'm trying to think why he wouldn't Prime Monarch that Prime Monarch to break that Prime Monarch. Okay, that's correct. That's correct. So the reason why that's correct is because compared to him, if he attacked that Prime Monarch and he Prime Monarchs that Prime Monarch or whatever, it replays battle, and then he attacks with the Zimio, and then he deals 24, which is that way. The way he did it is, oh, actually, he ended up taking more damage because of that. Yeah, that's just dumb. Never mind. For some reason, I thought that he would end up not taking more damage. Yeah, he just took a 3,000 damage from that attack. But it's fine anyways, because he just had some warning. The only reason I want to go with that is just because I'm just trying to get as much information for people when they're watching these videos, because me just casually doing commentary of literally just doing a play-by-play when you can literally see the screen. I'm trying to give you something more than just watching the duel and me stating what you can see. Which I'm gonna be doing a lot in Magic, not stating what I see or what you can see already, as it's going in depth about my decisions and the reads I have or what I feel like he has in his hand, what cards I lose to, what cards I can play around, things like that, whether or not my line of plays were correct or not, and just going back and watching my matches and see what went wrong that I lost or how I sideboarded and things like that. So I guess we can talk about going side decking in the Monarch mirror. So I actually just haven't been paying attention to this format at all. Like I actually just don't know shit. Like usually the amount of knowledge I have about formats is pretty like okay or above average, but I just don't like I don't feel comfortable with my knowledge. Like so, um, always just think from another perspective when I say what I'm about to say about my opinions on side decking. Uh, so like right now, the way I see like side decking right now is like from when I saw like the older Monarch decks, they went from a couple of different things. They went from like playing Fall King, and then Fall King it was just way more easy to out Fall King compared to Lion Darkness Dragon. So they started using Lion Darkness Dragon, and I'm actually not sure how popular Rough Panel is, but like it literally hits every card in the Monarch deck, which I actually just don't think is good. I played with Rough Panel before and the Dragon Mirrors all the time, and I didn't think it was that much of an impactful card as it usually would think it was. Like I just think floodgating your opponent is just way more better than just like trying to do raw card advantage, which is why I think Lion Darkness is better. So we kind of weird to see what they side in against each other, because like Regekis and Dark Holes are not very good against Lion Darkness Dragon, to whereas it's good against Fall King, but it's already been stated that Fall King is just, there's just a lot more outs to Fall King than there is to Lion Darkness Dragon, because from what I saw from some side decks, they're side decking like Breakthrough Skill. Only in particular with 2 decks that I've seen, but the events and the viewership they had on their deck profile was pretty high, so obviously you can take into factor that whether or not people net deck for that. See, the volumes are okay. So like Breakthrough Skill, like so you don't know Lightning Large Dragon, it can only negate one thing once per chain. So you can use like Breakthrough Skill, and also Breakthrough Skill is very good against Idea. It is all around just a good card in the Monarch Mirror. So I'm not sure actually what you side in the mirror now. If Effect Feather wasn't already main deck, I would assume you would side that, but it might change for this particular matchup because he saw that he's playing Quantums. Because from what I know, from my knowledge of like reading Quantums and the reasoning why people play Quantums in Monarchs is because it has the same fodder feeling as Idea and things like that, but it's way more effective against disruption cards and like Effect Veiler. Mainly just Effect Veiler. Like, I just think the E-Telling, the blue guy, is just really good. And it's not usually if you summon Idea instead of playing E-Telly, if they Effect Veiler Idea, your turn is kind of over. Where like if it's not that case with E-Telling the blue guy, get a free search, and if they Effect Veiler the blue guy, for you to not get your search, it's completely fine because you're still able to tribute summon. But the only thing about that too that I don't like, so I guess you're talking about like Quantum versus not playing Quantum. The reason not playing Quantums is it doesn't have this factor like reoccurring spell and trap cards you're getting from your Bandit Zone. Because once that Idea engine is going, like the amount of card advantage you just generate is just so heavy. To usually like against the deck, against your good matchups, like against Pendulums, even if they did usually out your tribute summon monster or get rid of your fill spell, like the amount of card advantage Idea generated from tribute summoning and like you being able to retain your normal summon, you would get a second normal summon, so you'd be able to tribute summon twice the next turn. Pretty much, if they didn't kill you in the Pendulum. In the Pendulum matchup, you still ended up winning, and even in not the Pendulum matchup, like it gets a lot of other matchups too. Like if you don't die, you usually just end up winning because the amount of card advantage that the Idea engine generates. Just because as soon as like one loop and like you snowball out of control, and that's the thing with Quantum, and another thing with Quantums too, like. For you to tribute summon regularly, outside of one tribute monster, you need the full spell in your hand. And even though it's not like, there's chances for you to brick on not be able to tribute summon with Quantums, because you're gonna get those hands where you can't get the full spell. Like it sucks, but it just happens. And I also don't think Quantums help that much with unbricking Monarchs unless you play like 3 Return of Monarchs, which I've seen some posts on some forums about that, whether or not you should play 3 Return of Monarch. I'm not sure. Like, it doesn't sound like a good idea, because I would never think Return of Monarch's a 3 of, to be honest with you. Like, just for like the one, and the reason being why they were doing it is because, particularly talking about the Quantum build, is because if you E-Tele for the blue guy, you get the red guy, play Return of the Monarch, tribute summon the red guy, and you instantly got your tribute engine. Which, it sounds good and all, but like, in, that would usually only occur if you didn't open up a way to tribute summon a regular like 8th year or Etios, and you happen to have the E-Tele and the Return of Monarch. So pretty much it's like when you brick and you have like a worse situation because you play a particular engine, and that you one of your card choices happen to be to take effect on like that part of particularly breaking. Like, it's pretty niche. I know it's not that niche, because when I did play test it a couple of times, I played the deck twice. That I'm referring to, like 3 Return of the Monarch, and it occurred like once or twice. But like, it still wasn't that much of a game-breaking interaction of like, wow, like, oh man, my hand is on brick. It was still terrible because I didn't have a spill spell. I didn't have a fill spell up. I didn't have any recurring card advantage from my next turn like I usually would. And I mean, I guess it was cool that actually no, it wasn't cool, because in those situations, even when I added 8th year to my hand or whatever tribute monster I added from return, I couldn't actually summon the 8th year because I didn't have a Monarch spell in my graveyard to banish. So like, it still kind of sucked. So it was just like the lesser of the evil, and it just so happened that my choice of playing 3 Return of the Monarch happened to help in a situation where I bricked with being able to tribute summon how I usually tribute summon. So I guess back to this and stop talking about comparing quantums versus not playing quantums. So his hand was, at least to say, like, pretty ideal. Summon 8th year. I mean, not summon 8th year. Summon idea. Get the recurring card advantage going from like when you tribute that guy, you get that card from the bandage zone. Add that card. Play Pantesium. Put it in the graveyard. Tribute summon. Erebos or 8th year. So it's pretty unlocked. Actually, depending on what that back row is, if it's not actually just like anywhere near as real as it needs to be, like pretty much solemn, anything outside of solemn, like Stormfort Battle actually just hurts the most right here. Like, I feel like if they get into a Stormfort Battle, the Monarch player with the extra deck is going to win. If that back row is not as real as solemn. Like, somewhere along those lines of that type of trap. It also could just be another face down Stormfort, and he have Ether in hand. But in that situation, from the Quantum Monarch player's perspective, there's no way that you're probably gonna beat that. So you can't like play it. You can't try to play around that, because like, how do you play around him having Stormfort and 8th year in hand? Stormfort face down, 8th year in hand. You just really can't. So if you can't beat it, you just gotta hope he doesn't have that situation, because either way, you're just not beating that situation. Him having Stormfort in 8th year. And he chooses to add Prime Monarch, which is kind of weird. I mean, I guess it's not weird because it means he probably has Pantesium, which is not probably, he just does. And this pretty much just gives him way more card advantage instead of it just like discarding and it being sort of a neg. I don't want to say neg, because using the word neg with Pantesium just sounds dumb as fuck. Because just because Pantesium literally says it's just the pot of greed, and it searches any Monarch spell trap. I didn't get to see what he had. I'm assuming he had a Stormfort. Or he didn't have Stormfort. I'm not sure. I didn't see what was going on. We have to turn down the music a little bit. I'm also slowly getting adjusting how to do volumes and things like that for videos. So hopefully over time I'll get better because when I start doing content for Magic, uh, like content in Magic, the Gathering, especially in the realm I'm going to be doing, which is competitive Magic and analysis of my matches and things like that. Like it's just way more demanding. The content in Magic is really fucking good, and there's just tons of it. Uh, he's just at this point in the game, like uh, I don't want to say that he'll win now that he might not win a Stormfort battle. I feel like he still will, because no, it's really hard to say actually. It's so hard to say right now because how much cards he has, like how much raw card advantage he has in his hand, and like I mean, just look at the field. Like this card is gonna gain card advantage. This card is gonna gain more card advantage. This card is kind of gonna gain more card advantage, sort of, not really. Uh, and only feasible way to break the cycle of Stormfort is like doing a Stormfort battle, which uh, which earlier I stated that like it's really actually hard to play around the situation, which he might be able to actually play around the situation now, because one or two things can happen. Uh, if he summons Erebos off of this 8th year, it means that he feels confident in Stormfort battle and his hand is just the nut. And if he summons another 8th year, he's also just playing around. It can be telegraphed from one or two things. Like if he summons 8th year, that he's gonna be able to. He has Stormfort, or that if he gets in a Stormfort battle, that now that other Monarch player has to be thinking to be playing around 8th year in his hand. To whereas if he adds Erebos, it doesn't necessarily mean that he has 8th year in his hand already. Even though there's there's 4 blanks in his hand, for sure, and he can either respect that he might have 8th year, or he just doesn't, and just tries to punish him and do a Stormfort battle with him. But if he ends up not respecting that he might not have that line of play is just gone because he didn't put Erebos back into his, he did some Erebos. So, now with this line of play, he could be thinking a couple of things like, that's kind of weird. So, another reason I got lost because I felt like he should have just used it in battle phase anyways. It kind of actually no. There's reasons not to actually summon Prime Monarch during battle phase and attacking, because it means you might want your Prime Monarch in defense. You value having Prime Monarch in defense mode better. Okay, and now to go back onto the line of play, like where he summons 8th year, right? So there's a couple of things you could read into when you're in the Monarch mirror, is why he did that. Is one, he's playing around Stormfort battle to where like he's just putting up a bunch of fodder on field that you just can't let the fodder just stay on field. Like you just can't do that. At some point, you're gonna have to push through that, and and when you're doing Stormfort battling, like if he's not Stormforting and tribute some monster, it's not as ideal as you usually would, because why would you ever want to Stormfort this field? You just wouldn't. And the only way that you're gonna force him to tribute summon is damage. So you have to attack through this fodder, and you kind of get shoehorned into having to engage in not Stormforting and having to hold it. And now you're in a situation where you have to have 8th year in your hand now. Like if you don't have 8th year in your hand already, you're not gonna win a Stormfort battle, because what's gonna end up happening is he's gonna clear this field of fodder right here, this Prime Monarch and whatnot, and at the end phase, he's gonna make Prime Monarch on his side of the field, and he's just gonna pass turn with whatever tribute on a monster, because the other thing to keep track of, he has Erebos engraved, and if you don't know what Erebos, he has a second effect where you can discard a Monarch spell and add pretty much any Monarch card monster from your hand, from the graveyard to the hand. It can also target itself. So he already has the tribute summon part down, but he just really needs to get Aether in his hand too. Like he just has to have it, because if he just passes turn, um, and obviously the Monarch player that has the extra deck doesn't know that he might not have Aether. Um, but like you should still just Stormforth, because if he doesn't have Aether, you're good, and like you're just going to win because he doesn't have Aether. In your Stormforth battling, you're taking away a tribute summon monster from his field. You're summoning your own for pretty much for free, even though you were going to summon it for free, but you pretty much got to remove a monster, their biggest threat on the field for free, and the only way for him to combat it back is literally have Aether in your hand and Stormforth. Which, depending on what he adds here, is going to tell a lot. Like, Return to Monarchs, that means he doesn't have Aether. If he has Stormforth, you could deduce that he probably has Aether. But that might not actually be 100% true, though. I'm trying to think of a line of play where it wouldn't be 100% true. But I feel like he already has Aether in his hand. I haven't been paying attention that much, because it's actually kind of hard to commentate and like give in-depth analysis of what can occur in like different lines of play, and trying to have a different thought process of why they're doing each play. So the game information may have already been revealed to me that I don't even know that he has Aether in his hand. So he affects Phaleth's Erebos, which is kind of okay, I guess. I'm not sure what he would spin back, whether he chooses to spin back a card in his hand. Maybe that Prime Monarch. So that's a set. That's most likely a set Stormforth. He also could just be next leveling. So the next level here is like, one, he doesn't have the Aether, and he's just setting, and he's bluff setting, not even bluff setting Stormforth. Because if he has Aether, then that's just definitely a Stormforth. But he could just be next leveling and bluff setting and making this guy, the person on the blue player, respect that he has Aether Stormforth. And unless his hand and his card advantage that he's going to gain is so good that he'll outcard advantage him getting this play right here, getting Stormforth and summoning Aether on your turn. Like, then he, obviously red player is just going to win, because he's going to Stormforth his tribute summon monster. Then he's going to bring out another big body, and you have 228 monster bodies you have to deal with. And if you don't, the next turn it's lit. To where he's going to start winning damage race. Like, this is very... The Monarch Mirror is very guardy. And I feel like this blue player has enough card advantage to start being able to push through Stormforth and Aether during his own turn. Because like there's just so many cards he's got for free already, and you can just tell by just look at the field and look at his hand compared to his hand size. It's really gonna be weird to see what happens what occurs during the first Stormforth, because there's just so many factors that go into Stormforth battling. There also just could be. There's also another variable that I haven't really talked about. Is I felt like they haven't drawn any of their side cards, and one of the things that you can think of, two things you think of, like either their side cards for the mirror is not like floodgate oriented, or it's more like just reaction based. Like if he summons Lion Darkness Dragon or something, he has something in it. Instead of like his own floodgate monster, he has something to do with floodgate monsters, and and then I'm just not sure whether or not how their side decks are, because it would seem to me like they haven't drawn many side deck cards, to be honest. Because we haven't seen any. We've seen like Twin Twister and stuff, which is I'm not sure what you saw Twin Twister for in the mirror, to be honest. I guess another thing I've seen is people side Solemn Scolding in Monarchs, so I guess that could be a thing. Wide side Twin Twister, and that Twin Twister it's just a good card, I guess, in general. But I just don't think there's that many good twin twisted targets in the Monarch mirror, other than Solemn Scolding. Which, you know, if you're gonna waste 2 cards on Solemn Scolding, like, probably that doesn't seem very good, to be honest. And yeah, it's definitely weird how he just let that resolve. So I'm not sure what to think about this, honestly. I haven't played in Monarch Mirror much, but I felt like if that was a Stormforth and he had Aether in his hand, he would just play it. So, in the other Monarch player's mind, the blue player, I guess you can. Whoa. Is this not a tribute summonable monster? Okay. Alright, the blue player is just tripping. Oh yeah, that's right. If you control a tribute summon monster on your side of the field, you can go into your extra deck. So this is actually legal. That's another thing too that I forgot about that this card text has. So since blue player controls a tribute summon monster, he's able to access his extra deck because the field spell has that on the text. Let me try to find that part. While you have no cards in the extra deck and you are the only player that controls the tribute summon monster, your opponent can also summon monsters from the extra deck. So he's not the only player that has an extra deck or a tribute summon monster on the field, so he's able to access his extra deck. And that was one thing we weren't taking into factor either, that this guy has access to an extra deck, and the Prime Monarchs don't just become fodder anymore, they become a rank 5 engine. And that 2800 was a lot of fucking damage. And to be honest, like I felt like a thought just occurred to me, but I don't want to say it until like something actually happens that to where it'll be relevant. But I think it'll come into relevance pretty soon, depending on what happens. It does have to deal with the set trap card or set card that was just unknown. So I guess I'll just talk about it. So since red player didn't know or just didn't remember that the field spell has that line of text, he might have played it wrong to where like he didn't activate Stoneforth and he let Erebos to Underworld or like Erebos be able to occur during that turn. So it's kind of weird. That might have altered or not whether or not he plays Stoneforth, but probably not though, because like once Erebos hits the field and you start trying to chain to it, like whatever the biggest threat occurs to after that chain, it's just gonna get shuffled back, and whatever got tribute summoned that might have got tribute summoned during that chain is going to miss timing because like. Obviously, if the card's not on the field no more, after the chain resolves, then its effect won't activate because it's no longer in the location it needs to be in order for it to activate its effect. Which that's a real reason why not to activate Stoneforth. Now that I think about it, so it's gonna be weird to see because I feel like this guy's so far ahead right here in terms of card advantage that he's just not gonna care about the Stoneforth battle. And at any point he starts to Stormforth battle of his own, this guy's card red player's card advantage is not going to do anything. And one or two things can occur too when we're talking about raw card advantage. He can just have like 5 blanks. That's just not likely to happen, but it has happened before in these type of grindy games where like you just have all this raw card advantage you get, or is just like literally just blanks and nothing that's gonna to determine the game or disrupt your opponent from playing, which is just not likely at all, especially in Monarchs. Like he's been tribute summoning so many times already and drawing so many random cards that it's just probably not gonna matter. And especially if Erebos goes to the graveyard anyways, he'll just get himself back. And he's winning the damage race. He's also winning the damage race too, in which damage matters a lot in the mirror match, because it forces you to start it forces you to start Stormfort battling, which you just don't ever want to do. This guy talking shit. He's red player says stink. Blue player says not too hard. Hopefully. I'm also sorry about me not being able to articulate what I thinking. It's been a while since I really just watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Or just did Yu-Gi-Oh! Things in general. Just because I just don't really enjoy this format at all. And wish my skills a little bit more on point than it usually is when it comes to type doing these things, because usually I am on point and I am on top of the format and technical play, but I'm just not going to try to sit here and lie and be like, yeah, what I'm thinking and telling you these lines of plays and different reasonings behind why they did X or whatnot is just correct. It's just not. Like, I can just straight up tell you right now that what I'm saying is probably just not very good or correct at all, what I'm telling you. Just because I just haven't been paying attention to this format at all. And I definitely don't know nothing about the Monarch mirror as much as I usually would if I played this format. So keep that in consideration. I'm just hopefully me saying bad things makes you learn. It's another reason why I do these type of videos too. Not only for quality testing and things like that, and for me to get better at doing these types of things, is for the viewer to hopefully learn something at the end of the video. So he's forced to start Stormforting, which we haven't seen literally all game. Because I think you see it is just like a thing you just don't want to end up having to do. He's saying, so he could have Solemn here if he's asking for the chain link, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Erebos would be last in the chain link no matter what. Yeah, like this guy said, idea is always chain link 1, and this guy is always gonna be the last in chain link because he's kind of like Construct or Clifford Disc. And Erebos. So he could in fact have a Solemn card if they're making a big deal just about chain links. What is kind of a big deal because, like, you know, DN is pretty grimy. So one thing to note is that this is already Erebos' effects already on the chain link. So what will end up happening is most likely this Erebos effect will end up sending this 8th year back, so this 8th year will miss timing. What also could end up happening is he could shuffle the idea back instead, which is probably not going to happen, to be honest with you. Like, you definitely just have to get this 8th year out of here because if you let this resolve, he's going to get another 2800 monster. Or if you let this chain link resolve, he'll summon another 2800 beater, which damage is really low on this guy. So you have to start building up your own threats, or you're just going to lose in damage. And it's also will be really good in red player's favor if he has the way to 8th year tributing. He's still thinking on whether or not what to shuffle back. Like, I think it's pretty cut and dry what card to send back. Like, you have to just send that 8th year back. Once again, he makes the joke. Red player says think. Blue player says not too hard, hopefully. guess while this guy's thinking of what he should shuffle back, and talk more into by why I'm leaning towards playing more Magic. Pretty much, Magic is I enjoy Magic a lot more than I am Yu-Gi-Oh. And that seems like it's gonna be consistent from here on out because I think Magic is like a way better design game. Their competitive scene is they have a lot of financial support and just really good infrastructure when it comes to competitive play from Wizards of the Coast. I guess then I'll talk about like if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player and you're trying to get into Magic, like just watch my upcoming videos that I have for my channel. I probably will even do a video of how to somewhere along the lines of wanting to get into Magic and you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player or trying to transition from Yu-Gi-Oh into Magic, things like that. And then things that I probably would have in it if I did do it was obviously how to play a basic introduction to how to play the game. Another thing would be financially telling you how Magic is. I can't tell you how great financially Magic is. It's pretty cool actually. Like the amount of money you spend in Yu-Gi-Oh, you go spend that amount in Magic for at least for standard. For anything other than standard, it's kind of it's like pretty expensive. But in the most played format called standard, the amount of money you could spend in Yu-Gi-Oh and if you spend that in standard, you just have a fuck ton of decks. And not only that, like the decks that are in Magic, there's just so many good viable ones that are just like there's not one deck that is clearly just beyond and leaps and beyond better than other decks. There is some really good one that people will there's always gonna be like well, we think this deck is just better than every other deck. It's for Magic, it's not the gap for how good a deck is not that usually that huge. To where you can sideboard for that particular matchup, and obviously it'll just get a lot better because the thing about Magic is the matchups in Magic they matter a fuck ton. There's usually always one or two decks to check the best deck to where it's just not the best deck. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a lot of it occurs a lot in Yu-Gi-Oh where it's if you're not playing these particular decks or one or two decks, then you're just not going to win this game. Which from what I've been playing in standard, I've been playing since Dragons of Tarkir, and it just hasn't occurred yet to where if you're not playing this deck in standard, you're just going to lose. This is the only deck in standard you can play. That just hasn't occurred yet. It's been close until the meta breaks and people find answers for a certain type of deck. Sorry for not commentating what's going on in the match. There wasn't. This dude was just taking really long, so just wanted to go into about Magic content real quick. So it looks like this guy's gonna start winning. Well, it looks like he won a Storm for battle. Obviously, he has a tribute to the monster, and this guy doesn't. And he also has only 2 cards in his hand, so he's honestly probably gonna lose this game. And I'm not sure when his Prime Monarch was summoned. It's relevant if it was summoned previously the turn before that, because it means he'll try to get the other Prime Monarch from his grave and start overlaying. And I'm not sure what his extra deck looks like, but your extra deck's probably not too tight, and he probably honestly plays another Vocasaurus. And it's also relevant that we did see Pleiades coming hot earlier, so he can make Pleiades as well. The music stopped. Hopefully we didn't disconnect. Okay, we didn't. Nope, we disconnected. Well, that honestly sucks. This duel literally took so long to end up DCing. Hopefully we get back up. Oh man, I'm kind of salty to be honest with you. I just wasted so much of my time. Uh, I'm gonna try to get back up on this. Um, I really don't want to upload this video now because the conclusion just never happened. Well, my router's restarting. You see that physically. So I guess while my internet's restarting, whatever, talk more about. Uh, I'm just not gonna make this video go to waste, to be honest. Uh, because I recorded a lot of videos today. Well, actually, only recorded 4. That's probably just not a lot compared to other people. But I recorded a lot of videos today, and the other 3 I just didn't want to show because the duels were just very lackluster, and the matchups that were being shown just wasn't very good ones. Uh, and other things too. Like pretty much they were just the other 3 matches that end up recording. They were just blowouts, like just dudes getting OTK'd and whatnot consistently. So I did just want to upload them, and there wasn't very much of things I was talking about that people just probably just doesn't want to hear, because it was literally just me just like memeing the whole entire time while people got OTK'd. Um, so to go more into about like if you Yu-Gi-Oh player and you want to get into Magic, like I'll definitely not think about it, definitely do it. So I feel like there's one thing that from my time of just playing in Magic, like literally like the first month of just playing Magic and like just really just following the community, um, it is 50 billion zillion, as many numbers as you can think of, better than Yu-Gi-Oh. Like competitive wise, game wise. So so let's think about things that Yu-Gi-Oh players hate. Most of them usually hate. Financially, financially in Magic for standard, uh, for like maybe half or 1/4 of the price you pay in Yu-Gi-Oh for meta decks, you won't have to pay that much in Magic. There's always this. There's always a deck. There's always a color base called Red, uh, particularly Red Aggro, that is usually always cheap. Like, so um, let's think all the way back. So since I've been playing for like a year plus now, since for a year plus this deck called Red, uh, particularly this deck called Tark Red or Red Aggro, we'll just call it Red Aggro or whatever. That deck has been around for a year plus now, and I I made that deck and it only costed me around 150. I think it was like 150 to 200, and I could have got it for cheaper too, honestly. But I literally just paid retail for that whole entire deck. It was either 150 or 200. I can't remember. Uh, but it's definitely one of those two. And that deck has been around for a year, more than a year probably, because it was probably around around even before when I started playing. Looks like the game ended, I guess. And I guess we'll go more. We'll end the video on doing like comparisons, and we'll go watch one more join another duel. So yeah, that deck been around for a year. Um, you don't see that in Yu-Gi-Oh, like where you can spend 200 bucks or whatever, and that deck be around for more than a year plus. Uh, and it's very viable. Like that deck, Atarka Red, uh, um, it's very cheap, and it has won multiple Pro Tours this year. Not only have won multiple Pro Tours, but like it has surprising, like people just get so surprised when a random red deck wins. Uh, which is why it's also kind of it's called sometimes it's called red deck wins, which is actually kind of funny. Like that deck will just catch people off guard. It's a very meta call based deck, and even when it's not just a meta call based deck, it's just always a good deck to play. Like it's just a good deck. It's run multiple Pro Tours, runs Grand Prix, and there's always usually one or two in top 16s and whatnot. And that's also not the only deck that's cheap, but that was just one of my examples for Magic financially. To also get into competitive play, there's so much fucking incentive to play competitive play. Like you could just go to Star City Games website and look at their prize structure. You can go to Magic the Gathering Wizards.com or rather and just look at their prize structure. You can also just go read the Wikia on pro player status or gold player status, platinum player status, and you can just see like how much things you get for attaining these statuses in Magic and whatnot. They're just like once again when I was saying over exaggerating like 50 billion zillion whatever. Like is it a zillion times? There's a zillion reasons why to play competitive Magic. Um, Another thing too, Banlist for Yu-Gi-Oh. Some people don't like their decks getting hit right now. And Magic, you play with blocks, and what means a block. So let me give you an example. Don't use the example. Don't use the example to see how Magic can play because it might just sound terrible for the example I'm about to use. So let's say so everything from Breakers of the Shadow to Duelist Alliance. Those are the only sets that we can use. That sounds terrible, uh, but don't think about it like in Yu-Gi-Oh terms. And Magic is built for that. Like Magic is built for playing in blocks, and it's really fucking good. Like its continues been good. Like I have had the most fun in card games. During it was a block from I think like M15 to Dragons of Tarkir. That was like I really enjoyed that. Like there's so many good decks. Uh, so there's play by blocks, and after a very long period of time, the block will change out. One set will rotate out. So like let's say Duelist Alliance goes out, and a couple of more sets come in, and just continuously goes to that. And also like your cards won't usually some cards will lose their value, but there is a format called Modern where a lot of the old cards retain a ton of their value. Like Modern is it's very expensive, and there's just like a ton of old cards that are just they're just expensive. Like if you just go look, just Google or NetDeck Modern decks, just type in Modern decks for Magic, you'll see how expensive they are, and there's just like a ton of cards that over time just have gone up in value from different sets. So like, um, there's always that factor where usually your cards would just be useless or whatever, which is just not the case in Magic. But yeah, those are two things. But like, yeah, that'll be it for this video. That sucks how we didn't get to see the conclusion or whatever. Sorry about that, but if you watch this whole entire video to the end, and if you're curious about Magic, I'll definitely be doing a ton of Magic content when Air G Fort Worth's over. And Air G Fort Worth is on February 27th through 28th, and I plan on doing a ton of more Magic content, and I'll definitely do some videos of trying to transition to Magic from Yu-Gi-Oh, or how to play Magic or get into the basic Magic, things along those lines. But yeah, thanks for sticking to the video. That sucks dick how we didn't get to see who won, but in my opinion, I thought blue player was going to win that game for sure. Like the amount of card advantage he had, and he was probably going to make a rank 5 monster, most likely play these and bounce the token back. And the red player only had two cards in his hand. But it is Yu-Gi-Oh! Anything can kind of happen. So, yeah, sorry that we didn't get to see the outcome. Yeah, but peace out.